Success is not something you chase like a wild animal. It is something you magnetize. It is not hunted, it is drawn to you, pulled into orbit by the gravity of who you are becoming, not by effort alone, but by alignment, by identity, by the invisible forces you sculpt within. You do not get rich by running harder. You get rich by thinking deeper. You do not gain influence by chasing followers. You gain it by becoming someone worth following. This world is not short on hustlers. It is short on caliber. And the greatest secret they never taught you in school, the truth they buried beneath a mountain of busy work and borrowed dreams, is that the most valuable project you will ever work on is you. Not your job, not your portfolio, not your image, you. Because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That is the rule. That is the law. That is the compass you've been waiting for. And if your life is filled with chaos, with drama, with limitation, it is not because life is cruel. It is because you have allowed the patterns that invite that chaos to remain unchallenged. If you want more, become more. Because success is not seduced by noise. It is attracted to depth. It is attracted to discipline, to clarity, to integrity. It flows toward vision, not desperation. It respects focus, not frenzy. It rewards those who build their foundation before flashing their face. The universe is not random. It is precise. It mirrors you. So stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I become more valuable? Stop asking, how do I get noticed? And start asking, how can I become so excellent that I can't be ignored? Stop waiting for the world to change and start becoming the kind of person who moves it. You want opportunity? Become prepared. You want love? Become whole. You want wealth? Become wise. You want impact? Become someone of substance. Because substance speaks louder than style. And the world has grown deaf to style without soul. The journey begins inside, and most people will never take it. Most people will spend their lives polishing the shell, decorating the surface, chasing the next thing, without realizing that the thing was never missing. They were. Their alignment, their values, their self-awareness, their standard. That is what determines what you attract. And when you raise that standard, not just in what you expect from the world, but in what you demand from yourself, everything changes. Because you start moving different, speaking different, choosing different. You stop negotiating with mediocrity. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining your hunger to people who've chosen comfort over calling. And you start building a life from principle, not pressure. That's when the world starts to shift. Not because it owes you, but because you've become someone who no longer waits to be owed. You've become the source, the spark, the architect of your atmosphere. Success is not out there. It is waiting inside you to be unlocked by identity. So who are you becoming? Not what are you doing, not what are you chasing, who are you becoming? That is the only question that matters. Because your outer world will never outgrow your inner world. No amount of hustle can overcome a weak self-image. No achievement will heal a fractured identity. No applause will ever fill the silence where purpose should be. So go there. Go into the silence. Go into the mirror. Not to admire it, to align. Not to correct the surface, but to confront the root. The root of your beliefs. The root of your patterns. The root of the story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. Because that story is not innocent. It is building your life. Every belief is a brick. Every thought is a blueprint. Every habit is a vote for the future. You are either building a prisoner, a palace. So tear out the lies, rip out the weeds, rewire the code, because you were not born with limits. You were taught them. You inherited them from voices who settled, who shrank, who didn't know any better. But now you do. And once you know the truth, you owe it to yourself to live it. You owe it to the younger you who dreamed before they were doubted. You owe it to the future You who's waiting for you to stop shrinking. You owe it to the world. Because a world full of people becoming their best selves is the most unstoppable force on earth. But it starts with one. You. Become someone worth attracting. Become someone who moves when it's hard, who shows up when it's thankless, who believes when it looks impossible, who builds, not because they have toe but because they can. That is the person success is drawn to. That is the energy that shifts rooms. That is the presence that makes possibility feel real. Not hype, not noise, alignment. Alignment with your truth, alignment with your values, alignment with your next level. Because success is not about luck. It is about alignment meeting preparation, wrapped in identity built through discipline. And discipline, let me tell you, it is not punishment, it is freedom. The world will lie to you and say discipline is restrictive, rigid, cold. But look closer. Discipline is devotion. Discipline is respect for your future self. Discipline is the bridge between the man who talks and the man who transforms, between the woman who dreams and the woman who delivers. Every act of discipline is an act of self-love. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to destiny. Every time you choose the grind over the excuse, you are casting a vote for the version of you that doesn't just get by, but gets beyond. Discipline is magnetic. It's not sexy. It's not viral, but it's unbeatable. Because when you can train your body to move before your mind has doubts, when you can commit without emotion, when you can show up regardless of how you feel, that's when the game changes. That's when the world starts to take you seriously. Because you're no longer signaling, I want it. You're signaling, I am it. And that energy, it attracts results. The disciplined person walks into the room and doesn't need to speak to lead. The aura says it all. The energy says, I've done the reps. I've walked through fire. I've mastered the boring days. I've held the line when others broke. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. And alignment cannot be faked. It's why some people with half your credentials rise twice as fast. They're aligned. They don't carry inner chaos into the world and expect peace back. They carry inner order, inner focus, inner fire, and the world rearranges itself around that fire. You must become the fire, not the flicker, not the matchstick, the fire. And fire doesn't beg to be seen. It burns. It transforms whatever it touches. And that is what you are meant to do. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to chase crumbs. You are here to become, to step into such power, such clarity, such embodied excellence, that success starts to orbit you like a planet locked into gravity. Not because you're lucky, but because you've become inevitable. And how do you become inevitable? Through identity reinforcement. It's not enough to know what you want. You have to see yourself as the person who already lives it. You have to wake up every day and act like it's already yours. Think like it's already here. Decide from the perspective of the person who's already become it. This is not delusion. It's alignment with potential. And potential is not realized through wishing. It's realized through wiring. So wire it. Wire it through repetition, through rituals, through a standard so high that mediocrity suffocates in your presence. Because when you live like that, people start to ask questions. They don't ask, what do you do? They ask, how do you move like that? How do you think like that? How did you build that? And the answer will never be a job title. It will never be a resume. It will never be some trick. The answer will always be, I worked on myself until I became someone success could no longer ignore. That's the real flex. Not what you bought, but what you broke through. Not who you impressed, but who you inspired. Not what you earned, but what you embodied. Because money fades, status fades, trends die, but who you are that echoes. And the greatest echo you can leave is not the memory of what you had. It's the model of who you were, the standard you set, the energy you brought, The legacy you left, not in assets, but in alignment. So stop asking when success will come. Start asking, who do I need to become for success to feel at home in my presence? Because when you become that person, success will not be able to stay away. Because once you become that person truly, fully, deeply, you won't even need to chase. You'll move, and the world will move with you. You'll speak, and doors will open. You'll breathe, and people will feel it. Not because you tried to impress, but because you aligned your entire being to something real. See, real power is quiet. It's not the loudest in the room. It's the most certain, not arrogant, anchored, not boastful, built, not frantic, focused. When you are that aligned, you don't get thrown off by storms. You welcome them. You don't fear resistance. You feed on it. Because you've trained your nervous system not just to survive pressure, but to command clarity inside it. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop proving. You start embodying. You stop running after things. You start attracting them effortlessly because you've done the one thing most people never do. You became ready. This is what it means to live at the edge of your potential. You become so complete, so directed, so locked in on truth that the world reorganizes itself around your presence. But this only happens when your internal standards are non-negotiable. Your mornings aren't random. Your habits aren't optional. Your words aren't careless. Your thoughts aren't unmanaged. Your relationships aren't passive. Your time isn't wasted. Because you know, every single thing you do is a reflection of who you are becoming. And who you're becoming is a force, not a follower, not a passenger, not a victim of the system, a system of your own, a principle-driven, purpose-bound, relentlessly focused architect of outcomes. You no longer wait for the world to offer you more. You offer yourself more and watch as the world starts to match it. Not out of favor, out of formula. The formula is simple, but it is not easy. You take full responsibility, not for the weather, not for the economy, not for what life throws at you, but for how you respond, for who you choose to become inside it. You don't control the waves. You master the sail. And the stronger you become, the more gracefully you navigate. Not because life stopped being chaotic, but because you stopped being reactive. You became sovereign. That's what this entire path is about. Sovereignty. Not control of others. Control of yourself. Because when you control your thoughts, your attention, your behavior, you become untouchable. They can strip the title. They can cut the income. They can doubt the dream. But they can't touch the core. They can't touch what you've built inside. And when your power comes from within, your success becomes inevitable because you've stopped borrowing strength from the world and you've started generating it from your identity. And that is when attraction happens. Not the law of attraction as fantasy, not the vision board with no execution, but the real law that who you are creates resonance, and that resonance draws in the people, the places, the platforms, the opportunities that match your frequency. Because you're no longer asking life for permission. You are life. You are creation. You are the source. Not in arrogance, in awareness. And from that awareness, you act. You move different. You speak with purpose. You walk with presence. You choose with conviction. Because success is not a destination, it is a frequency. Tune yourself to it. Train your nervous system to hold it. Build your body to carry it. Sharpen your mind to defend it. Elevate your spirit to radiate it. Do that. And watch as everything you once chased begins to chase you. Because when success begins to chase you, it's not magics, it's mechanics. You have aligned your input to match the outcome. You've taken full ownership of the seed, the soil, the sun, the sweat, and now the harvest can't help but come. The world has to give way to the person who refuses to be moved off their path. It may take time, It may test your patience. It may delay until you question your worth. But the law remains. The person you become determines what you receive. And if you receive little, it's not a matter of worth. It's a matter of readiness. So get ready. Stop asking for the fruit. Strengthen your roots. Stop begging for results. Build your resilience. Stop pleading with the universe. Become someone who commands it through character. Because success isn't a jackpot. It's not a lottery ticket. It's not found, it's forged. It is the visible proof of invisible victories. It is the applause the world gives you after you've clapped for yourself in silence 1,000 times. So make your silence louder. Make your consistency your anthem. Make your private discipline your public destiny. Because the world doesn't just watch what you do, it feels what you are. And when you're grounded, clear, unshakable, people can't explain it, but they trust you. They follow you. They bet on you. Not because you promise, because you prove. Not once, not in flashes, but in the way you live. And living like this, it's not about being perfect. It's about being principled. It's about knowing what you stand for and standing there even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because hurt is part of the price. Growth has a tax. Evolution has a cost. And those who rise are not the ones who avoided it. They're the ones who paid in full. They didn't look for refunds. They didn't ask for discounts. They invested everything. Time, energy, ego, comfort, old identities. And in return, they got themselves. The true self. The powerful self. The unedited, unafraid, unstoppable self that no one could give them because it had to be earned. And when you earn that version of you, you no longer need to convince anyone of your value. Your being does the talking. Your presence walks in first. Your energy leaves the echo. This is the life you were meant to live. Not one of struggle and scattered ambition, but one of sovereignty, where you do not chase success. You call it. You don't beg for peace. You generate it. You don't wait for leadership. You embody it because you've done what few are willing to do. You became someone who can carry everything they once dreamed of without being crushed by it. That's real success. Not what you own, but what you own within. Not what you earn, but what you exude. Not the empire you build, but the emperor you become. So ask yourself today, not what am I doing, but who am I becoming? And answer that question not with words, but with action. Consistent, focused, uncompromising action. Because once the person you're becoming matches the life you're asking for, there's not a force on earth that can stop it from coming to you. Because once that alignment is real, once the inner frequency and the outer behavior are in perfect sync, you don't chase opportunity. You command attention. Not with noise, with neutrality, not with flash, with foundation. That's when the world starts to listen to your silence more than others' screams. Because your walk speaks. Your habits preach. Your aura confirms what words cannot fake. You don't rise in the world by simply wanting to. You rise when your every action begins to agree with greatness. You rise when your thoughts no longer sabotage your movements. When your environment no longer outruns your decisions. When your past no longer dictates your capacity. You rise because your discipline became identity. And at that level, you attract things without lifting a finger because your energy did the lifting. You attract people who respect the process. You attract opportunities that match your vibration. You attract peace because there is no longer inner war. Most people don't fail because the world denied them. They fail because their inner world didn't match their outer desires. They wanted royalty but walked like peasants. They wanted influence but thought like victims. They wanted overflow but lived in lack. Not just in money, but in thought, in movement, in standards. But you've outgrown that. You're no longer okay with being the almost version of yourself. You're no longer addicted to applause that means nothing without alignment. You're no longer willing to sacrifice purpose for popularity or substance for speed, because you finally understand success doesn't come faster by running harder. It comes faster when you become clearer. Clarity creates velocity. Conviction sustains it. And consistency makes it inevitable. So what if it takes years? So what if no one claps? So what if you're misunderstood? You didn't start this journey for applause. You started it because you knew that inside you was something untouched by fear, unshaken by rejection, unwilling to stay small. That seed has always been there. But seeds don't bloom because they're seen. They bloom because they're watered. In darkness, in silence, under pressure. So water yourself with intention. Nourish yourself with discipline. Expose yourself to light not from the crowd, but from the truth. Because once that seed breaks through, once the person you've been sculpting in private shows up in public, no one will question how you got there. They'll feel it. They'll feel the weight of your growth. They'll feel the depth of your evolution. They'll feel the inevitability of your arrival. Not because you were lucky, because you became someone worthy of everything that's coming. Because worthiness isn't given, it's forged. It's not about what you were born into. It's about what you build from within. It's not the titles, not the applause, not the numbers, not the nods. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing I have done the work. And that kind of worthiness, it can't be stolen. It can't be faked. It doesn't rise and fall with the markets. It doesn't disappear when plans change. It doesn't collapse when you're doubted, because it's not tied to anything outside of you. It's rooted in character, in clarity, in the scars you earned and refused to hide. People will try to measure you by results, but results don't tell the full story. Your resilience does. Your consistency, your patience, your ability to stay the course when every part of your old self begged you to retreat. That's what defines you. That's what attracts real success. Because real success lasting, grounded, soul deep successes, no interest in temporary men and hollow women. It is drawn to those who've burned through ego, who've turned suffering into structure, who've mastered the art of being ready before they're seen. And readiness is rare. Most people wait for proof before they believe. But you believe first. You act first. You become first. Because you understand the universal law. Success is something you attract by the person you become. You don't just want to look successful. You want to live aligned. You want to walk clean. You want to sleep well. You want to wake up, look in the mirror, and respect the reflection. That is the true reward. That is what they can never take. So if you're tired, good. If you feel stretched, good. If you're standing in the in-between where the old you is dying and the new you is still forming, good. Because that's the place of power. That's the place of becoming. That's where success gets magnetized, not by chance, but by change. Not change in circumstances, change in character. And when that character is forged, when your identity has been rebuilt, brick by brick, moment by moment, habit by habit, you don't just attract success, you command reality. So command it with your walk, with your word, with your standard. Because the future doesn't belong to those who hope it, belongs to those who become. And the person who becomes, they can lose everything and still rise. They can fall 1,000 times and still lead, because they are not built on luck. They are built on law. The law that says, I will always attract what I am aligned with. And the more powerful I become within, the more unstoppable my life becomes without. You can lose money and earn it back. You can waste money and still recover. You can invest money, misplace it, even burn it, and somehow it finds a way back to you. But time, once it's gone forever. Every second you spend, you never get again. Not one, not ever. And yet, most people guard their money with intensity while giving their time away like it's worthless. That's the lie society sold you, that money is the measure of wealth. But it's not. Time is. Because money is infinite. But your time, that's the one currency you're born with a limited balance of. And every day you wake up, the clock starts ticking. Not just on your to-do list, not just on your career, but on your life. Tick. That's a choice you made. Tick. That's a moment you won't get again. Tick. That's an opportunity you either seized or lost. And most people don't realize they're going bankrupt, not financially, but existentially. They trade their hours for distractions. They sell their days to opinions. They rent their attention to anything and everything but their dreams. They spend time like it's free, not realizing they're paying with their purpose. And when the bill finally comes due at the end, when it's too late, they finally see it. The real price of wasted time. Regret. Not regret for the money they didn't make, but for the life they didn't live. The conversations they skipped. The chances they avoided. The risks they never took. The work they never finished. The dreams they buried under someday. But someday isn't real. Someday is the cemetery where dreams are laid to rest. And time is not generous. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't pause for your emotions. It doesn't wait for your confidence. It moves constantly, silently, and irreversibly. So if you want to win, not just in business, not just in career, but in life, you must value time above all else. Protect it like treasure. Respect it like a sacred gift. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. Start saying no to things that don't serve your mission. Start pruning your calendar like your life is a masterpiece in progress. Start treating every hour like a seed, because it is. Every hour you spend shapes your next chapter. Every block of time is a block of your legacy. And if you keep building with careless bricks, don't be surprised when the structure collapses. Time is the master sculptor. It carves the successful and the forgotten. It rewards the disciplined and punishes the drifting. It's the silent judge of all our decisions, and it never misses a detail. The question is not, how much time do I have? The question is, what am I doing with the time I've been given? Because one day, you'll wake up and there will be less future than past. Less room to waste. Less time to talk about changing. Only space left to act or to wish you had. You want to get rich? Respect time. You want peace? Manage time. You want impact? Own time. Not with apps, not with hacks. With focus. With intention. With the daily discipline of someone who knows that every minute is a mirror reflecting who you are becoming. Because time, like money, leaves a paper trail. But unlike money, the receipts are irreversible. They show up in the life you're living, in the energy you carry, in the depth of your relationships, in the health of your body, in the quality of your thoughts. So stop treating your time like it's disposable. It's not. It is your one true asset. You don't own a house, you rent it with time. You don't own a business. You pay for it in time. You don't own love, joy, wisdom, you earn them through the moments you dedicate to them. So stop pretending you're waiting for the right time. The right time is now. Now is all you'll ever have. Now is the only place power lives. Now is the only currency that counts. Not someday. Not one day. Not when you're ready. Now. So take it. Own it. Honor it. Build with it. Break through with it. And never forget, time is more valuable than money. Because money can make you rich, but time, used wisely, can make you immortal. Because when you understand how precious time really is, you stop negotiating with it. You stop trading it for things that don't build you. You stop exchanging it for comfort, for validation, for numbing escapes that keep you standing still. You become ruthless, not with people, but with your priorities, because you finally see the truth. Your time is either a weapon or a wound. It's either carving your future or cutting it short. It's either being invested or it's being wasted. And wasted time is a slow form of self-betrayal, because deep down, you know better. You know you were meant to build, to create, to learn, to impact, to rise. And every day you delay, every hour you drift, every moment you give away to the meaningless, you dig a little deeper into the grave of your own greatness. But not anymore. Not if you choose to wake up. To look time in the eyes and say, I see you now, and I won't waste you again. You reclaim your hours. You cancel the noise. You shut the doors that steal your focus and open the ones that lead to legacy. Because every legacy worth remembering was built with disciplined time. Every genius was made through hours of intentional effort. Not bursts of brilliance, blocks of consistency. Not viral moments, years of quiet mastery. So if you want a future that's different, start by measuring time differently. Stop asking, how long will it take? Start asking, how well will I use today? Stop saying, I'm busy. Start admitting, I've just been distracted. Because being busy is not the same as being intentional. And productivity is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. And what matters most? The time you will never get back. You don't need to work 18 hours a day to win. You need to own the hours you already have. Turn off the distractions. Silence the noise. Set your standard. Guard your time like a soldier guards a gate. Because your dream is under attack every minute you spend asleep to your own purpose. You are not here to exist. You are here to execute. You are not here to wait. You are here to wake up. To move with urgency, but not panic. To work with precision, not pressure. To live each hour with the full weight of its value and to spend it only on what is worthy. Because time is not cheap. It's not casual. It's not something you use up on the way to something else. It is the very substance of your legacy. And when your time is gone, when the clock hits zero, the only thing that will matter is what you did with it. Did you build something that outlives you? Did you love with presence? Did you learn with hunger? Did you grow even when it was hard? Did you fight for the best version of yourself? Or did you let it all slip through your fingers? One distracted minute at a time. Because there's no refund, no reset, no extra time added to the clock when you realize too late what it was really worth. So don't wait for a crisis to value your time. Don't wait for heartbreak or loss or regret. Make the decision now while you still have minutes left to shape. Because when you own your time, you own your life. When you respect your time, others will too. When you master your time, you begin to master yourself. And that is where greatness begins. Because when you begin to master yourself, you step into a rare kind of power. The kind that doesn't need applause, doesn't beg for opportunity, doesn't wait for the right moment. You become the moment. You create the opportunity. You set the standard. And it all starts with how you treat your time. Not as something to get through, but something to grow through. Not as something to kill, but something to cultivate. Because time is not your enemy. Waste is. Distraction is. Indecision is. Those are the thieves. They don't just steal hours, they steal potential. They rob you of presence, of passion, of progress. And if you let them, they will steal your entire life. But the one who masters time, that person becomes unstoppable. Because time mastery is self-mastery. And self-mastery is the root of every breakthrough you've ever dreamed of. Want to write the book? It's not about ideas. It's about carving the time. Want to change your health? It's not just about workouts. It's about when you prioritize them. Want to transform your income? It's not just hustle. It's how wisely you spend your focus. Everything you want lives in how you handle the hours. That's the equation. Not passion, not potential. Precision. Precision in how you plan. Precision in how you protect. Precision in how you pour yourself into each moment without letting time leak away in fragments. Because most people don't lose decades all at once. They lose 5 minutes at a time. Scroll here, procrastinate there, delay a little longer. Just one more video, just one more excuse. And then they wonder where the time went. But not you, not anymore. You're done with the casual countdown. You're done watching the clock run your life. From this moment forward, you run the clock. You become the kind of person who doesn't just show up, you maximize. You don't just fill time, you invest it. You don't just exist in time, you expand through it. Because once you realize how short this ride is, you stop trying to fill it with noise. You start focusing on the signal. You start building what matters, speaking what matters, doing what matters, and cutting everything else out. That's not harsh. That's freedom. Because saying no to what doesn't serve your future is how you say yes to what does. So you stop explaining yourself. You stop apologizing for choosing focus. You stop lowering your standard to accommodate those who don't value time because you know every second matters. Every second is either a seed or a scar. Every second is either building your vision or eroding it. Every second is either feeding your legacy or starving it. And legacies aren't written in years. They're built in moments. Moment by moment. Choice by choice. Hour by hour. That's where transformation lives. Not in some distant dream. Not in some grand event. But in how you manage this minute. Right now. While you still have it. While it's still yours. Because once it passes, it belongs to your past. And if you've been handing your future away one moment at a time, then now is the time to take it back. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You don't need to work harder. You need to waste less. Because when you start measuring your life in focused hours, you don't just become productive. You become powerful. And when you become powerful with your time, the world begins to respect your life. Because when the world sees someone who commands their time, it sees someone who commands their destiny. You walk different. You speak with clarity. You move with purpose. You radiate a sense of urgency that isn't frantic, it's focused. Not because you're rushing, but because you understand. You understand that your life is not a dress rehearsal. You understand that your mission is not guaranteed another day. You understand that the clock is not ticking for you, it's ticking on you. And you've decided you won't let another minute fall into the hands of the mediocre. You won't let another hour be stolen by your old habits. You won't give the rest of your life to the version of you that settles, stalls, or waits for the right mood. No, that version is done. That version had its chance. That version burned through too many mornings, too many opportunities, too much promise. You've buried that version now. And in its place stands someone new. Someone who doesn't spend time, they invest it. Someone who doesn't beg for time, they own it. Someone who doesn't fear the clock, they set it, run it, and win against it. You're not just living anymore. You're leading your life. Minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. Because when time becomes sacred, everything changes. Your relationships deepen because you're present. Your work sharpens because you're focused. Your vision expands because you're disciplined. Your life elevates because you're intentional. And that's what this was always about. Not success, not money, not achievement, but alignment with your mission, with your future, with the version of you that lives fully instead of merely existing. That version, it's not a fantasy. It's already inside you, waiting, watching, pacing behind the walls you've built with distraction, doubt, delay. But now, Those walls are coming down. Now, with every second you reclaim, you chip away at the old. You rise into the essential, into the eternal, into the extraordinary. And in the end, when it's all over, when the final second slips through your hands, you'll know something most never get to feel. You used your time. You honored your time. You lived your time, not in fear, not in waiting, but in fullness, because you remembered what they forgot. You understood what most ignore. You committed to what most abandon. Time is more valuable than money, and you chose to spend it on what matters most. So now, you don't need more time. You've already created more life.